Coming up on 3rd Degree, anatomy of a protest. There is one every second day in South Africa. We look at the causes. We probe the damage to this country's international reputation, and we investigate why anger turns violent so quickly. South Africa is besieged by protest action. There's one every second day, as you heard, in this country, and they turn violent every third day. But there are causes that are common to many of these protests. We profile the Zamdela outburst over the Sasolburg demarcation and use it as a way to examine the problems common to all protests in South Africa. We begin by looking at what happens when government doesn't listen to angry communities. Bhavani Naidu investigates. A familiar sight. Angry residents, police prepared to shoot, politicians calling for calm. Protests spurred on by anything from a lack of service delivery to labour disputes to land demarcation, e-tolls. Recent research shows there is a protest every second day and one that turns violent every third day. Protests may differ from place to place, but there are problems that are common to all of them. Zamdela township, Sasolburg in the Free State. A few weeks ago, it was the latest casualty of destructive protests. But what was the toxic mix in this quiet town that brought it to a point where looting and burning was seen as the only solution? The first problem, a government that is tone deaf. The distrust first started when community leader Lucky Malebo and many others first heard about the proposed merger of two Free State municipalities on their local radio station.
Somebody on an evening program phoned in and asked the DJ, at that time as to, hey, what's happening? We've heard about Matsimaholo and Ngwathe going to amalgamate. What can you tell us about it?
Matsimaholo includes Sasolburg. It's next door to Ngwathe and is home to the tourist town of Parys. So Lucky and a group of concerned residents turned to the local radio station to find out what was going on.
So we went on air on Tuesday. We talked to the public, and the response was fantastic. People didn't know about it, and people didn't want the amalgamation.
It was clear answers were needed from local government. They called on the mayor to address them.
An answer, amongst other things, as to why we were never consulted with this amalgamation thing, and who put in the proposal, why they put in the proposal, and what benefits were there for both municipalities.
Local government neither confirmed nor declined the request to meet residents. Regardless, the community went ahead. Come Sunday, the 20th of January, they gathered at the stadium.
So they never came. That was on the Sunday. And in the stadium, people were orderly, there was no problem. But chaos began outside.
The council did not pitch there. That's why it started, and it lost control. After that particular meeting that was supposed to proceed, people take it to the street, entering the location, looting stores, burning stores, and all of those things.
It was only then that national government took notice. Kids not in school, the rampant thuggery and theft had seemingly caught their attention. Next, the department asked the radio station to broadcast a message. The Minister of Cooperative Government, Richard Bolloy, would address the community on Monday evening at the stadium.
We went to the stadium. He never showed up. the local municipal council never showed up. And people were even more angry.
Reporters at the scene confirm, however, that the minister never arrived. In response, enraged residents took to the street again, looted the local liquor store, set alight vehicles and buildings, looted and burned the cash build right next to the police station. Then a second call from the minister.
Again, we received a message from the office of the minister saying there will be a meeting the following day at 10 o'clock in the stadium.
For your information, the minister never pitched up, the council never pitched up. So no one came.
A third consecutive opportunity for government, local and national, to address angry residents, and they simply failed to attend. Tempers flared. Complaints that government does not listen is an all too familiar theme at many protests. In Zamdela, it gave the anger a boost. Let's go back and have a look. Initially, residents complained they weren't adequately consulted about the proposed merger. When they raised their concerns, government squandered the opportunity to address them not once, not twice, but 3 times. It later turned out the minister was in fact in the area, at the Zamdela police station, but he was advised not to go to the stadium for security reasons.
For you to drive to Zamdela Stadium, you need to listen to people from the security establishment. You need to listen to the leaders of the community as well, that the situation is conducive, so that you don't go to a stadium and you find that you are actually found wanting.
Although he didn't address residents, at a press conference later, he confirmed the amalgamation process would be stopped.
And he said, no, when I say it's stopped, it means it's non-existence, it's halas, it's finished. See, now he's the minister, and we accepted his word for that, okay, it means this is cancelled.
To you, and thank you so much for
But the next morning, in an interview on eNCA, it emerged that he didn't have the authority to make the call.
The decision would only be made by the board, and only by the board.
An uneasy calm settled on Zamdela. But the 3 days of violence highlighted a second problem, one common to many protests around the country. In order to be heard, protesters seem to think they need to turn to violence. Let's go back again. When government failed to arrive at the stadium, the residents' response was to embark on an orgy of looting and common theft. It's an all too familiar scenario, the wholesale destruction of property that inevitably makes national and sometimes international headlines. Coming up, the toxic combination of an ineffective police force and political appointments.